Sean Payton is officially building back better in Denver. He's making the Denver Broncos great again as he has totally changed the culture, and that is on full display with some bold comments made by Jonathan Cooper before we play the Kansas City Chiefs. We get more advanced analytics that prove that Bo Nix's biggest criticism coming into this draft just hasn't rung true as an NFL quarterback so far. We break down why the Broncos are going to beat the Chiefs and shock the world on Sunday. That and so much more in this video. And if you would rather eat at Casa Bonita than any Missouri barbecue place, it would help me out a ton if you would like and subscribe to this video. I'm Ben, a diehard Denver Broncos fan. Let's dive into the news of the day. Jonathan Cooper on pace to be the first Denver Broncos edge rusher with 10-plus sacks in a season since Bradley Chubb. And those types of players are getting mega deals. And so he could have hit NFL free agency and gotten his bag, but he took a hometown discount. And he was asked all about that. Like, why would you not just wait till the end of the season? You're going to have over 10 sacks. We're already leading the NFL, and we have a 20-point lead on the next team in the NFL when it comes to how much time we hit opposing quarterbacks. You're going to get your numbers. You would be able to go out and get your bag. And he was asked, like, why are you staying here? Like, what's the point of that? And he said, hey, you haven't even started to see the best of what this defense is going to be. We can grow and get even better. And up until last week, throw last week aside, that was a buzzsaw that we ran into, and we weren't up to the task, but we are back at it this week, and I have no doubts about that. And so he's like, you haven't seen anything yet. Just, again, channeling that belief in this locker room that we are a playoff team and we're going to make some noise when it gets down to it. And so he was asked directly, why didn't you hit free agency? And he said, I didn't want to go anywhere else. I want to be here and I want to work here. And there was no reason to hit free agency because I love it here. And so all of the talk about Sean Payton, like he's too much of an authoritarian, he's not a player's coach. If any of that was true, he wouldn't be a magnet for all of his former players and coaches that he had when he was with the Saints. And players now who are great wouldn't take deals early like we saw with Surtain, like we saw with Quinn Miners, like we saw with Jonathan Cooper. So let's throw all of that that narrative aside. I think we know that it is difficult to trust these national reporters who use ChatGPT to write their hateful comments and stories about the Broncos, and instead just look at what Broncos players are saying about this team and the belief that is here. So we got a pivotal game here. When you take a look, if the season were to end today, we would be the 7th seed and we'd have a chance to play the Buffalo Bills. The last time we went into Buffalo with a worse team, we beat them. If the season were to end today, that's how it would play out. Yet, we know we have a really tough slate here of 2 games with Baltimore last week and Kansas City this week. If we win this week, it is a 72% chance that the Denver Broncos make the playoffs. If we lose, that only drops to 42. And the reason that only drops to 42 is because the 2 teams right nipping at our heels are the Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts, both who have gauntlets of schedules coming up. And so you're going to watch the Baltimore Ravens probably beat the Bengals tonight, which is going to drop them even further behind us. And then the Colts have to go into Buffalo right now with a backup quarterback, and I don't like that matchup for them either. So if both of these teams lose and we lose, this isn't going to be 42. It's still going to be north of 50% chance of making the playoffs, even if we don't eke out this win with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was just going through the Athletics playoff predictor. Essentially, if we beat the Raiders, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Colts, we will make the playoffs. So truly, we could make it with 9 wins, even if we don't win this next game or the game after that against the Falcons. But I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen for just a number of reasons. If you take a look at the last 2 times we've played the Chiefs, we've played them incredibly tough. Patrick Mahomes has thrown the ball to our defensive backs or safeties 3 times over those 2 games, and we lost one of them on a Thursday night, and then we won one in dominant fashion when they played us at home, and Taylor Swift left Mile High Stadium to shake it off, and it was just incredible. Yet, you remember after that game, that was the infamous Sean Payton driving around the sushi restaurant, unable to get out and go in and enjoy a meal because he was so upset that we only beat the Kansas City Chiefs 24-9. And he was upset at that. And it's like, you would think he would be doing victory laps around that parade like it's the first time in 8 years that we've beat our arch nemesis. We took down Andy Reid. We took down Patrick Mahomes. We shocked the world. But he knew that we have the Chiefs number and that we know exactly how this team is playing, and we have answers and matchups for each and everything that they can throw at us. And I think matchups make fights, and I know there's going to be a lot of people saying that this is a homer take. I don't think we are the best team in the league. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have a shot at a three-peat, but I love how we match up against them because you've seen it on full display in both of our games last year, and we are better at every single position. One of the reasons Sean Payton didn't go in and eat sushi was he was so upset that when you look at Russell Wilson's numbers, that in the game we won, he only threw the ball for 114 yards. And the game we lost, he only threw it for 95 yards. And so now Bo Nix plays the offense and throws to the players that Sean Payton wants him to. And then I think we have the answer. Vance Joseph knows Patrick Mahomes all of his time coaching when he was the head coach, and now all of his times running up to him as a defensive coordinator. He knows this team extremely well. On top of that, since the last time we played the Chiefs, they have lost their two best corners. One of them, they lost Snead. They franchise tagged him and then signed him because they didn't have salary cap space for him. He was a Pro Bowl corner, no longer on that team. And on top of that, they also have lost their other starting corner, and what they really wanted was to go out and get Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline, but the price was too high. So you're talking about they have greatly regressed in their secondary, and I think that's a great matchup. In addition to that, they have a rookie on their offensive line, and we already were in the backfield all day, both of those games against Patrick Mahomes, and I just think it's a fantastic matchup for us. You are talking about a team that really is kind of probably overconfident at this point, undefeated. They've eked out all of these games. You saw them in a nail-biter against Baker Mayfield when Baker Mayfield had lost all of his targets. Both Godwin and Mike Evans were out and didn't play any of that game, and they had to go to overtime to beat them. You have the Broncos, who are just healthier. There's still talk that you may even see Josh Reynolds back in the matchup for us. And I just think this is a fantastic matchup that if Godwin and Evans are healthy, that's definitely a better receiving core, but I'll take Cortland Sutton over what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers threw out there, and they barely lost to the Chiefs. And I don't need to remind any of you that the Broncos stomped on Tampa Bay. And you look at Bo Nix, the biggest criticism going into this season was that he was a checkdown king, right? They're like, well, yeah, Bo Nix is good. He just doesn't ever throw it deep. And if you take a look at it, he is the fifth highest player when it comes to throwing it deep, with over 15% of his throws being deep left, with the bulk of those being to the left side. But I just love that, hey, everybody was saying he's not going to be good because he can't throw it deep, and he's thrown it deep more than anybody else. And the person who throws it deep the actual least this year, you can't even see him on my screen, trying to zoom out here, at 36 is Patrick Mahomes. And so I think Vance Joseph is going to have the answer for that. We are going to cover their short routes. We are going to have Patrick Surtain lock down Hopkins. We're going to double team Kelsey with PJ Locke being back in this system, and probably bump him in at the line with Quan Alexander and Cody Barton, and he's not going to be feeling good by the end of this game. I think what we just saw, there were a lot of folks last night, if you're a fan of NBA basketball, who were like, hey, the Denver Nuggets are about to face the hottest team in basketball, an undefeated team in Oklahoma City Thunder, just way outmatched the Nuggets now that Murray's out and Aaron Gordon's out as well. And the Denver Nuggets beat an undefeated team who was favored even more highly than the Kansas City Chiefs are favored over the Broncos. So we did it once this week. We're about to make it two. So let me know in the comments, what is your final score prediction? And lastly, later this evening, I'm going to be recording a video with an Chiefs insider, and I want to know, what questions should I ask him? Like, I was going to ask, how many times do we pick off Patrick Mahomes, and why do you think it's 4? But let me know what questions should I ask the Chiefs insider, and we're going to make the playoffs, and y'all were here for it the whole time, and that's something we can all Bo-LIEVE in. Ooh, ball don't lie.